So, how are you all doing today?
I'm doing well. It's Friday. Um, can't really complain. It's we got some beautiful sunny weather, and there's some interesting times in the world to be able to impact some of the things that we need for vulnerable.
Very true.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, so I'm doing great too. I can't complain. The weather's great.
Hmm.
Um, looking forward to this weekend though. For the most part,
I feel that it's
we
supposed to
supposed to
be
be
really
doing a
nice.
crab boil over at my house. Super excited.
That
So,
sounds cool. Very nice. Well, I wanted to talk
you
to both of you about your book, Brotherly Love. First of all, I love the title, and no pun intended. And I've seen a lot of books co authored, but I haven't seen many co authored within the same family. So I really appreciate that. Do you want to talk a bit about um, what led you to the decision to co author the book and what it's about?
Yeah, so I guess I'll jump in, and then if I'm leaving anything out, Gilbert, feel free to chime in.
know,
Really, it was a hard process, but so much of who I have become over the course of my life has been rooted in collectivism and empowerment. And so much of that, I always felt like as a black cisgender man that grew up in a certain type of environment from a like Baptist perspective, we oftentimes see the world in isolation and individualized. And so it was really, really important for me, and it has been over the course of my life for quite some time, to understand that I'm never disconnected from my community and human people, but most importantly, my brother, whom I have had a relationship for all of his life. So it was really important for us to really model firsthand the value of collectivism and community, also and love, and that the story really couldn't be told in the most accurate and meaningful lens without us really doing it collaboratively together. So that would sort of be my big brother perspective on if I'm leaving anything out, Gilbert.
well, I definitely will chime in as a little brother. The process itself was on process was like a process for us, and then for me, it was good because I was learning different things about Michael, and he was learning different things about me when we were writing this book together. Um, but the book itself, it was amazing. Like, for me, I remember being 15 and being my brother taking guardianship of me, and us pretty much talking about these different things that we're doing now, which is the book. Being able to get this out here for different young kids that's struggling with maybe mental health issues, maybe family dysfunction. And the goal was also to inspire hope. Because there was times where I can't really speak for Michael, but I could definitely speak for myself. I've had times in my life where it was dark periods and hopeless for me. So that's why this book was so important.
Spectacular. And so, does the book walk me through it? Does it talk about both of your lives from childhood to adulthood, or does it talk about one person's life and then the other? If someone was reading it, what would their reading experience be like?
Yeah, so it sort of intentionally starts by giving a context as to who we are, where we come from, different communities that we resided in as young folks in Zion, Waukegan, and then where Gilbert's formative years from a high school perspective were involved, and then mine equally at a college from a perspective. So we sort of tell parallel stories on purpose about a portion of time. So from 15 years old for Gilbert all the way through current, and for me, sophomore year in college all the way through current. So we're talking about this. The story, in essence, carries the magnitude of what Gilbert was going through as a fragile teenager on the verge of crossroads with respect to life, and courageous and bold enough to call me and tell me what he was going through, and eventually me intervene as a big brother, that's sort of fortifying our bond in relation to the system of systemic racism, white supremacy, and all the different things that many vulnerable and marginalized groups go through, but how we were able to find our way together and develop a bond that's really fortified by love, vulnerability, mindfulness, therapy, and so many other things. But we walk it all the way through to where we are today. and try to provide some holistic strategies rooted in wellness for people to be able to understand. As Gilbert talked about, we wanted to take hope from being like this elusive, abstract idea, and we wanted to operationalize it or make it practical, and put it in our laps or put it within local and personal and immediate for different people. So that was what we tried to accomplish by the story. It's really quick. It's 55 pages. It's 10 chapters, but most people can read it probably in about 30 to 45 minutes. We were trying to speak to our younger selves. So, there are times where we were just packed up in the middle of the night and had to move to another place. We wanted to give young folks something that they could read and know that regardless of what they're going through in that moment, hold on, what you're dreaming, what you believe about yourself is real. And here's some of the ways that we can kind of activate that knowledge and create a bridge for you. Gilbert, am I leaving anything out?
Well, the only thing that I would say that's left out is mentorship, right? The biggest component of that book for me, and I guess it's probably super important for me because I'm the younger brother and the character in that book, is the mentorship and how it saved my life, and I want to make sure the reason why we wrote this book too, and it was so important to me, was I want to make sure the younger at-risk youth that's struggling, in everyday life, understand that these things are attainable and it can be overcome and you can become whatever you want to do in this world. So, yeah, that's the only thing I seen that one was left out. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. I love the messages you all are putting out with that. Man, you just said so many things that I want to touch on, but like back to back to back. I think first of all, I love this idea of like bringing hope from being like an ephemeral like thing that you can only reach for to like a holistic thing that you can have steps toward achieving. I suppose if you can point to just one of those, like one step or one rung on that ladder of the climb to hope or the climb to like changing your life a little bit, what's one thing you could point out? Like Gilbert was saying, mentorship, and that seems like a really like solid step. Dr. Allen, is there anything that you would think of that like specifically stands out to you, especially as the older brother?
Sure. I would probably say one of the most practical things that we started to come to terms with, it, I think we directly address in the book, is the battle that individuals go through. So we sort of identified in the form of like vulnerability, knowing that you have these feelings that you can't quite make sense of, and you need to do something with them. So a lot of times what Gilbert and I have talked about over the years, but we've finally found a lifestyle or approach to it. So mindfulness as being able to be a strategy or a lifestyle approach to being able to slow down everything that you're going through, to know what's true, real, and meaningful, and you can do something about, but the things that are unhealthy and related to your past that you can't do anything about, but you can acknowledge them, reconcile them, and heal from them so that they don't affect you and relinquish you from the weight that often comes with that. So one practical thing that we talk about in the book is mindfulness for the sake of staying in the present moment, aware space, slowing down those different things. So a lot of times we've been exposed to tremendous hardship, adversity, and even trauma, and we aren't clear about what to do with the information. So we sort of preach, if you will, for lack of better words, that nothing can stop you from being who you are, or no one can stop you from being who you are but you. But that's an abstract concept. One of the ways that you can get control of the things that you've been exposed to is slowing it down and staying focused in the present moment and understanding the power that comes with that. Understanding no one can really hurt you or stop you from being able to become who you're supposed to be in the future. So I would use mindfulness as one of the practical things that we talk about in the book. It's not a strategy, though. It's a lifestyle approach we think has approach to all of life.
Spectacular. I like the distinction, too, between it being a strategy and a lifestyle approach. Strategy seems a little bit more short-term or something you pull out of your back pocket. But the lifestyle approach, like you open up your closet in the morning and you put that on, like that's part of your routine.
Right.
That's nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, man. First of all, where can people find your book?
Thank you for asking. So it can be these days it can be found a lot of places. You can either go to our website brotherlylovebook.com, brotherlylovebook.com, to our Facebook
Brotherlylovebook.com.
page at brotherlylovebook.com, or to Amazon. Just type in Brotherly Love Book and Michael with Gilbert. It'll come up through Amazon. If we're local in the Chicagoland area or Evanston, it's also available at Booked Children's Bookstore. I think it's located at 506 Main Street. Those are hard copies that are available. Those are the
Excellent. And I think I just have a couple more questions, and these are both obvious questions and ones that I feel like still probably play a big part in this. How did you feel like the current paradigm, what's happening in the world right now, played into your decision to write this book? Did you feel like you saw something that made you think other people need to know our journey so that they can have the same tools that we had? Or was this something that you both always wanted to do, and now is just a coincidental time that you're bringing it out?
I'll let Gilbert go first.
Yeah, I think this is, well, first off, the things that's going on in the world definitely played a role throughout the journey. I mean, we openly talk about racism within the book. We openly talk about mindfulness. We openly talk about homelessness, right? Because we were displaced at numerous times before Michael took me in. We also talk openly about drug addiction and how it affects the family dynamic. So all of these different things is still different things that's going on right now in the world that is plaguing Black and brown people in our communities, right? So throughout our lives together, we always been talking about this opportunity to be able to normalize some of these things that we're dealing with in our communities, so we can make people understand that, like, look, it's okay to go through hard times, but hard times don't last forever, right? It's okay to cry, right? Which is something that, for men, like even myself, right? It took some time for me to realize, no, I can cry. I could talk about my feelings and my emotions. There's nothing wrong with that. So, and then all of just different things that's going on in the world with Black and brown people being killed at the hands of, different police officers and different things of that nature. We just want to make sure they're uplifting everybody and making sure that we see them authentically, and we hope that this book touch people's heart. That's what we've been trying to work on within this book.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would add is it's certainly been an idea. It's been a dream that we have collectively shared. We literally were reminiscing about this when Gilbert was in high school and I was in college, about just the value of telling our story, and finally have been at that sweet spot or that silver lining in life, but having enough wisdom, time, and energy to be able to get it out there. We are not ignorant or naive about the landscape of what's going on in the country to vulnerable and marginalized groups from all different cultures, gender identity, and sexual orientation. It's been really important for us in the present to be able to normalize the importance of seeing, acknowledging, and loving the humanity in all people. And we understand that we have a unique role in that as cisgender we're not apologetic about making authority, the experiences, and the authenticity of our own journey to empower everyone. So we're not just speaking to the Black family in the nuclear sense. We're talking about every aspect of humanity. And so that is something that's important. We don't have to give.
Wow. Spectacular. Between vulnerability, mindfulness, mentorship, and family, it sounds like y'all have both found strength in each other and have extended a way for multiple other people to draw strength from your experiences. So I just want to commend you on having done so, like having taken those steps to transform your own experience into not just a tool. You know, like we were saying before, there's a distinction between something that you just pull out of your back pocket and something that you integrate into yourself and into your routine. And I feel like what you've done in putting this all into a book that you can give to someone is closer to the latter than the former. So spectacular. And thank you so much for talking with me about your book.
Anytime, anytime. It's been very, very gratifying and humbling for me to understand how the universe works things out, which is why that's one of the most powerful things we're trying to get across in the book is like, okay, we know hope is in the sky, but we want to grab it out, take it and put it into your living room on your front table and then put it inside of you.
Right.
But one thing that's unique about our story, we don't directly talk about in the book, but I think it's important to share in the space, I'm sure you're comfortable with it, Gilbert, is that, so I'm the second oldest of five. Gilbert's the youngest of five. All of my other siblings were all born in Waukegan. Gilbert was the only one of our family born in St. Francis Hospital in none other than Evanston, Illinois, right? And so I ended up having this purpose of being a principal and somehow ended up as the principal of Oakton School. It's literally across the street from St. Francis.
Wow.
So it's really, really been deeply gratifying and humbling for my brother and I as we think about just how our journey to where we are today, but really our journey backward to where we were. We can see the interconnectedness to our ancestors and to humanity. And you know, it's been, for me spending so much of my life as a literal person, it's been like hit me in the head. You know, like, okay. But yeah, I don't know if I'm misspeaking about anything, but you know, my brother being the only one that's was born in Evanston, literally across the street from my school, it means a lot to me. And I think it has a lot of things to keep in mind with respect in terms of perspective about the world and our responsibilities. So I don't know if I'm leaving anything out about that part, Gilbert.
No, you're not. You know, I find it to be super interesting myself, you know, being born in Evanston. And then my brother that took me in at 15, being a principal there, going back there to serve that community. It's first off, it's amazing. It's an honor to even have this book in this community where I was born, you know, like, and I'm super excited. And I'm super excited also about being able to bring this book into Evanston public schools where we'll be talking with some kids as it relates to our book, Brotherly Love. So.
Excellent. Well, I cannot wait to just hear the name of the book on the wind, hear kids walking down the street being like, did you hear about Brotherly Love? I love chapter 3.
Yep. We've already been able to, my fifth graders, all the fifth graders in my school had a copy before spring break.
Oh, wow.
And they were able to read it. We were able to come and do an author visit with them. So it was really, really cool to see them leaving school before spring break saying, hey, Dr. Allen, I'm really looking forward to reading your book. And then having them connect to who I am and understand my why. You know, it's been so important for me to kind of subtle things that are powerful. Like, one of the things that's been powerful here is every day meeting my kids and being able to tell them openly how much I love them, being able to fight for their futures, make sure they're not apologetic about who they are, their identity, their culture, their language, all those different types of things. So It's been cool. It's still surreal though. I think Gilbert and I, we joke about it every day. Things seem to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We haven't quite adjusted to it yet, but sometimes I think that's just how the transitions of life come anyway.
Very true. Very true. Just like how you can come full circle, that life can hit you in some really unexpected but some really pleasant ways, especially once you find out some of those tools we were talking about.
So it's been a tremendous honor and privilege to be able to share this space with you.
Spectacular.
Thank you so much for having us on.
Thank you for being willing to. And thank you for watching Evanston Live TV.